afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the August 24th, 2022 Special Civil Service Commission meeting. May we have a roll call, please?
Commissioner Afkarian?
Here.
Commissioner Gazarian?
Here.
Commissioner McCarley?
Present.
Commissioner Astoria?
Here.
Chair Hartunian.
Here. What's next?
Oral communications, we have none.
Okay. Ms. Martin, what's next? I'm sorry. Mr. Trosian.
Next item is class specification for approval, payroll specialist series.
All right. Ms. Martin.
Mr. Chair, good evening, Mr. Chair and members of the Commission. The subject before the Commission is the revised class specification for the payroll specialist series within the Finance Department. The department is requesting to modify the minimum requirements for the various classifications within the series. Specifically, the department is seeking to change the minimum requirements for payroll specialist 1 from 2 years of payroll experience from 2 years of payroll experience to 1 year of general office clerical experience. For payroll specialist 2, from 3 years of payroll experience to 2 years of payroll experience, and for the level 3 position, from the currently required 4 years of payroll experience to 3 years of payroll experience. The current specifications also include possession of 2 different certifications, either as a highly desirable or a requirement, depending on the level of the position. The department is seeking to remove the fundamental payroll certification as either a desirable or a requirement, but maintain the CPP, which is the Certified Payroll Professional Certification, as they feel that that is the more relevant certification for the positions. The payroll section is comprised of 5 positions, inclusive of the supervisor. There currently are 3 vacancies in that section. It's a very critical section within the organization at large, and we are beginning the process of recruiting for these 3 vacancies. Therefore, the department wanted to request that these modifications be made to the requirements for the positions prior to commencing with the recruitment. I will say that the last recruitments that we did for payroll specialist 1 and 2 yielded very few people on the eligibility lists. Specifically, as an example, for payroll specialist 2, 72 people had applied for the job, 10 were qualified and invited to the interviews, 9 participated in the interviews, and 2 were ultimately placed on the list. So the department is seeking to make these changes to the class specifications to potentially broaden the applicant pool as we begin the recruitment processes for the relevant positions. This evening, we have Mr. Jason Bradford, Director of Finance and Information Technology, as well as Tony Ligon, Fiscal Operations Manager, who may be able to answer questions the Commission may have, as well as our staff, Narek Petrosin, who worked on this item.
Thank you, Ms. Martin. Before I open up for questions and comments, I just want to inform my fellow commissioners that when it was this month's regular meeting, when it was canceled, this item was brought to my attention as requiring, urgent action. As I got familiar with the issue, I understand that lowering eligibility requirements have sort of been a trend in the city and has generated a lot of discussion by this commission, that I personally am not in favor of lowering various requirements, but I understand it. We always have questions about it, and we have our questions answered. It most of the time comes down to the eligibility pool and if we have enough people to employ at the city. But because of that, I didn't act on it, and I wanted to hear discussion from the commission, and that's the reason why we're here. With that, I will open for questions and comments. Mr. Gazari?
I just have one question. Page, is this on?
It's on.
Page 7, it says payroll specialist 1. Are we discussing that right now?
Yep.
Yes?
Yes.
Distinguishing characteristics under direct supervision. This classification in the payroll specialist series provides routine payroll staff support. So I have a two-pronged question. Under direct supervision, by who or whom? Additional minimum requirements at the end where the 2 years of experience working in a payroll unit or section has been scratched off, and 1 year of clerical or general office experience is underlined. It seems to me that, payroll is an important function, and a 1 year of clerical or general office experience may not in and of itself be sufficient, so I'm curious to know under whose direct supervision would this person be employed and functioning as a payroll specialist?
Good evening, members of the commission, Commissioner Gazarian. This particular position reports to our fiscal operations supervisor, Mr. Tony Lagon. And in regards to your other question, we have a little bit of a conundrum with this particular position with the experience. You can't get the position without experience, but yet you can't get experience without being in the position. This is really an entry-level position. Anyone who meets 2 years of experience in payroll won't apply for this. It's more appropriate for the payroll specialist 2 position, which is why we've also modified that position to require 2 years of experience.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. Mr. Carney?
As you well know, I'm a big proponent. I am a big proponent of this particular movement forward to reduce the entry-level requirements. It broadens the pool from which we can select. And of course, we defer to our management, you, sir, for making judicious decisions about hiring. I am most confident that you will not hire someone who has no understanding whatsoever of the payroll process or basic mathematics.
Thank you.
I just have one comment. When you hear the word specialist, you usually are looking at somebody who specializes in something. So I'm not very concerned about the requirements as much as the wording on specialist 1. I think that everything should be kind of downgraded. You put payroll specialist 1, I just wanted to say payroll office something.
Payroll clerk.
Payroll clerk, yeah, instead of specialist 1, because there's no specialist on payroll specialist 1. You want to just get someone started, you just want to give them a name. I understand, but it doesn't make any sense to call someone who has 1 year of clerical or general office experience. They could be entering something in a computer and they qualify. To call them a specialist doesn't make, so payroll clerk, for me, seems to be the right thing to call this person instead of payroll specialist 1. So I'm comfortable with the specification. I'm not comfortable with the title, as Mr. Commissioner Kazarian also kind of alluded. So that's my only comment on this.
Mr. Chair, Commissioner Afkarian, if I may, in order to modify the title of the position from payroll specialist 1 to anything else, in this case a payroll clerk, that would require a classification and compensation resolution to be taken to City Council for approval. And in the interest of time, the department truly does need the recruitments to commence sooner rather than later, due to the fact that they really have 2 individuals currently left, again, including the supervisor, and taking this to council would take a little bit of time.
If I just may add, Commissioner Abakarian, your point is well taken. The pendulum has swung a few different ways from going from the clerk title to the specialist title. I think payroll clerk, accounting clerk, accounts payable clerk is more standard in the industry and a little more descriptive of what they're doing. We can revisit this when we're not so time for crunch with a dire need to fill 3 vacancies, and we can maybe take it up during our next budget process to clean up the titling of this particular position.
Any other comments?
I do have a question. So, Ms. Martin, change of title of a position should be or is required, or requires council resolution? Is that what it is?
Yes, Commissioner Astorian, classification titles and compensation are established by the city council through the form of a class and comp resolution.
Yeah, but if we, as a Civil Service Commission, say that payroll specialist one now with the same compensation, we'll just change the name, we'll have the same compensation, same level, same everything. The Civil Service Commission now is going to call payroll specialist one a payroll clerk, and that's the resolution that we put forward. It doesn't require them, the city council, to change anything. It doesn't require city council to change any budgetary issues. All we're doing on the civil service side is changing the actual title of the item with the same compensation, same requirements, same specifications. How does that need to go back to the city council?
Mr. Larpetian, do we want to hear from you on this?
I do believe that the titles are established by the city council. It may seem like a technicality, but the corresponding budget goes along with the title, and for them to make that change, it would not be reflected in the resolution itself. So it's a technicality, but there's a tie-in to the budget, and that's why it goes through the city council.
Okay.
And what's the process to get that?
I think the next
Go
time, if I'm not mistaken, the next time we're going through that process, we would take it as a recommendation from the Civil Service Commission to change that title or any other title to something else.
Okay. Well, can we?
Sure. And Ms. Martin, one thing to keep in mind in making the recommendation, however way it flows to city council in the future, is that when you label particular city staff with words like specialist, I, as a litigator, though I'm not a civil litigator, I will salivate at the opportunity to just find out what degree of specialist this person is. If it's an entry-level person, let's call him a clerk or her a clerk. And it would be in line with Commissioner McCarley's proponency, if there's such a word, being a proponent of lowering the standards so that we can have more people apply, but let's not give them fancy titles that not only they perhaps haven't yet earned, but also subject the city to liability down the line or exposure. Those are my final comments. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Well, I'll move to approve.
With a recommend, I would second it with the recommendation that we take the payroll clerk position, to change the payroll specialist one to payroll clerk commission next time we go to city council.
I would incorporate that in my motion.
Second.
Roll call?
Commissioner Bakarian?
Yes.
Commissioner Kazarian?
Yes.
Commissioner McCarley?
Yes.
Commissioner Astorian?
Yes.
Chair Hartunian.
Yes. What's next?
Civil Service Commission, staff comments?
Do you have any?
Want to welcome our new
That's
HR
exactly
to
right. In
director
charge.
to the city of Glendale. Welcome.
Thank
Maybe you
you.
want to say a few words?
I'm thrilled to be here. I'm thrilled to be the secretary to the commission. Once we take up some formalities in closed session, and I look forward to a long working relationship, cleaning up some of these class titles and removing things that are obsolete to the city, and working very closely with you. Thank
And
you.
just for the people who don't know who you are, the viewers, could you just introduce yourself, please?
Yes, my name is Paula Adams. I am the Chief Human Resources Officer, appointed to this role on August 1st, 2022, and that's who I am. I come to you with more than 3 decades of human resources experience at a neighboring city, the city of Los Angeles, where I worked from 1989 through October of 2020. So I've had a nice break, and I am full of energy and ready to roll up my sleeves and get moving.
Welcome.
Welcome
you.
aboard.
Mr. Galanian, did you have a comment?
Good evening,
Good evening.
Chair Hartunian, members of the commission. I was anticipating this to work in a different way, somewhat, so I was going to introduce Ms. Adams as our very first Chief Human Resource Officer, replacing our former HR Director, Matt Doyle, who left the city back in December of last year. But before I go into some details, I wanted to express my gratitude to Amy Martin and Manya Hunanian, who for the last 7 months took the helm at the department, managed the operations very well, all the while getting engaged and handling the recruitment of 3 executive positions. So I thank you both for that. So after an extensive nationwide search and a thorough, comprehensive, competitive recruitment process, I selected Ms. Adams to be our next CHRO, and City Council confirmed it back in July, I believe. And Ms. Adams, as was mentioned briefly, has a very impressive pedigree, starting with your education, Bachelor of Arts degree from UC Santa Barbara, nice campus, if I may add, and the Master of Arts in Public Administration from Cal State University. Decades, again, was mentioned, decades of experience primarily with the LA World Airport and LA DWP. I am, needless to say, very excited. Can't wait for the positive changes and improvements that she and her team will bring not only to the HR department, but the city organization as a whole. And I'm pretty sure she's excited, equally excited for the opportunity, and that she will do a fine job working with the Civil Service Commission.
Thank you, Mr. Gulanyan. I join you, and I'm sure I speak for my fellow commissioners, and they can obviously echo, but yeah, I'd like to express my gratitude to Ms. Martin.
Absolutely.
Manya, thank you very much for all your help, especially for me, a newer, younger chair. I've come to you for help, and I appreciate that. And thank you for your hard work. And
Thank you.
that's it.
Good job, good job.
Yes, absolutely.
I mean, just the fact, Mr. Chair, I'm sorry, that you're a graduate of UC Santa Barbara speaks volumes for it. So, I mean, you had me right there.
Yeah, good, hello, huh?
I have to be curious. I can't restrain myself because our city manager has indicated that he effected a name change for a position that used to be known as a human resources manager. Now, I'm not sure if that was the net result of a coordinated effort with the council, or it was the product of creativity on the part of our most senior and illustrative city manager.
Yes,
Wow.
Commissioner McCarthy was the latter. And there was some resistance because, you know, it was a major change, so, but look what we ended up with.
Exactly.
Thank you. What's next?
Closed session, public employee appointment, chief examiner.
Okay, I guess we're
We will
going
now-
in a closed session. We'll be going.
We will now go off camera. We will ask everyone to leave the room. We will come back into open session and report out.